Have you ever had any tarots done before, any readings?
No, nothing at all really, like this first time.
Does it interest you?
Yeah, I've always kind of thought it could be quite interesting to know if there's obviously something in the future for me, but then I've always kind of on the flip side been like, I don't know if I want to know really.
So what I'm going to ask you to do is, before we actually start, is to just kind of pick the cards up and just shuffle them around yourself.
Okay.
And then I'll instruct you accordingly. Have you got a specific issues that you want to kind of really concentrate on?
Not really.
You've not got any questions?
No, I haven't really thought of anything.
Okay. The reason I ask that is because we can just do a general one which kind of overviews your life, you know, past, present, future.
Right, okay.
But also there's always an opportunity to kind of, if you've got like a relationship, or you've got a job, or you've got a career, if there's anything that you really want to focus on, we can also look at that. So, you know, maybe if you've not got those questions now, think about some that might want some clarification.
Yeah.
And you'll also know that the tarot isn't about telling you absolutely what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's a guide.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So I'm not going to be able to go, oh, you're going to die. Which is
that's one worry off my
Which is, it's like when you said about the future, and you said, I just want to know if I've got a future. Well, you have, right? And it's not going to show you that you haven't. It's kind of more an instruction on this is the best way for you, and the past that's been, and how that's affected you.
Right,
Okay? So would you like to just pick any 3 cards from in there and just put them in front of here, here, and here?
Right, just choose any.
Any that you know, wherever you cut, it will be right for you.
Okay.
Okay. Great. Fabulous. Okay. Aha. These are all upside down to you, so I'll turn because they're all the right way for you, but wrong for me.
Yep.
I'll let the phone get answered.
Right, okay.
Okay. Well, this is really interesting. Right. Okay. The first thing to say about the tarot is that just because the pictures can be quite scary, particularly things like this one, the Falling Tower, it doesn't necessitate that there's anything bad.
Okay.
So if we look at this as the past, we look at this now, and we look at this as the future.
Okay, right.
Now this particular card, force here, is very much about the way that you, for example, have been brought up.
Okay.
And that's not to say that you've been over-disciplined in your life, but does it make sense when the moral structure in your home has been quite tight so that there is a code to live by?
Yeah, yeah.
And the expectations of you growing up were very much about doing well.
Yeah.
The path almost felt like it worked for you, but there wasn't a lot of choice. So I'll take that in an example that I can relate to most people. Some people grow up and go, they go to primary school and secondary school, and then it's up to them.
Yeah.
But for some people, it's more like it's always going to happen. Primary, secondary school, college, education, work.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, whilst this was great, what it also did was make you a huge dreamer. So when you were doing all of that wonderful work that made brilliant sense to you, you were also quite mischievously thinking about the possibilities and potentials.
Right.
And that, at times, led to a sense of frustration.
Right, okay.
It's not that you're a volatile individual. You're not somebody who would go and shout at your mum or your dad if they were around. In fact, you'd feel very guilty about doing that. You don't like upsetting or antagonising others.
Yeah.
But what you also tend to do is internalise a lot of that so that you will allow yourself to feel down instead of just letting other people own the stuff that they've given you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Always feel free, if it's not, to direct me.
Yeah, nice.
So, instead of internalising all of that stuff and feeling a bit silly for having these aspirations, it's so important now that you start to just say, here in my life right now, I've chosen a new path. It could be that you've always talked about a certain career, for example, and you're either on your way to achieving that, like educationally, for example, or alternatively, you've been in a job. I'm kind of heading more for the education, to be honest with you. Whilst this is quite a challenging point for you, okay, because this is now about you starting to stand on your own 2 feet, and I don't mean that in a financial, economic, individual. So I'm talking perfectly from, you know who you are now.
Yeah.
You aren't who you were. You're going through a big transition. And that transition is really positive, because by just taking the example of what you're being taught by this card and saying, actually my needs are really important, and actually just because I might have changed my mind about certain things, that's okay. Because all of this stuff has provided me with a firm understanding of who I am. All those morals and those educational pathways and the people who tell you that you're good at this, that and the other, that's been dead important, but only leading you to make the decisions for yourself. Okay. And I imagine that you've been feeling a little bit more anxious recently because of some of these presenting issues.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so when we look at this, the other side of it is the personal traits it creates. As an individual, if people were to meet you, they'd think you were quite calm, relaxed, good-mannered. Always the kind of person that a boy would take home to a mum and go, perfect girl. Always the person that people's mothers likes, okay? And I bet when you lay in bed sometimes at night, there's just that kind of vision of who you really are and who you're becoming, and I guess that's going to take form of relationships, for example.
Right.
Going back to this, of course you have aggressiveness in your nature, we all do, and one of the frustrations that you'll have at the moment is you can sense some of that, and you can take things very personally, but you don't let the people who are doing it to you know. So it's like they'll go, do this, or they'll just say something really flippant and it really upsets you, and instead of just saying, that is so offensive, you'd rather save their feelings than your own.
Yeah.
You're not a natural stressor, and you're surrounded by it, but what you are is a natural empathiser. So if I come to you and I'm in the office and I'm down, you're going to home in on me like a shot, right?
Yeah, it's true.
And you're going to take it all away and try to make me feel okay. But no one's doing that to you in the office. No one. And I just don't want to influence you, because that isn't what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
But I have to say, this is a much more creative line, and Future, I mean, she is an incredibly warm card to get. This particular person in the cards suggests that what you really are is a huge nurturer. You are an unbelievably, I mean, I'll come back onto her in a minute, but you are an unbelievably loyal person. I mean, unbelievably. As in, on a scale of 1 to 100, you're 100. And it serves you brilliantly in friendships, although it hurts desperately when people let you down. And because you're not very good at saying, that really hurt, they just can do it again and again, and your forgiving nature enables them to continue on that path. And the warning for that is, I don't sense that you've got a boyfriend actually, but you might have. Are you like that at the moment?
No.
How long?
Coming up 2 years.
So,
Yeah.
So what does he do?
He works in a sort of leisure, like he's a lifeguard and personal trainer.
Really? 2 years? That's really odd, because I just don't sense that. He's not, well, okay, sorry, I'm not going to say it's not going to work, because you know your relationship much better than I do. He needs to step up his support of you emotionally, because when somebody walks in, for me to get a feeling that they might not have a relationship tends to be not because they've not got them, but because you either don't allow him to support you, or you're not telling him what's going on sometimes, so he doesn't know. Personal trainer, lifeguard, very protective, so capable of it, but there's something there. But you're quite a canny character, really. You will end up. What I will say is, the one thing I'd say about this when it comes down to people moving in with each other is, just be aware, you have got the capacity, because these cards are incredibly strong, to take on the responsibility of finances massively. I don't mean you'll pay for him.
Yeah.
I mean you'll be miss-organiser.
Right.
You'll be the person who makes sure that the shopping's done. You'll be the person that makes. I'm not saying you look after him. He might contribute.
Yeah.
You'll get it done.
Yeah.
Now, at the beginning of a relationship, that's really easy to do. You're a nurturer. She's a massive nurturer. The fact that you're in advertising, but you've done Camp America, which is very much about engaging young people, that split personality, the career person to the actual nurturer, in a new relationship, and this is even though you're in a house together and 2 years of experience, living together, totally new leaf. Be very aware if you don't start the foundations correctly, such as make sure you don't take too much control.